and probably just thinking it was Sinbad because, his name is Sinbad, and, there's the ancient legends of the character Sinbad. It's a whole thing. But, I find it interesting. I don't buy it necessarily. I probably just misunderstood the Berenstain Bears as the Berenstain Bears growing up. But I do distinctly remember. Yeah, there are a lot of Mandela effects, and it definitely is something that needs to be talked about. I just know the Berenstain Bears one is the thing that sticks out the most to me. I did have a friend who I was doing a radio show with a while back, and this came out right around the time. I'm forgetting the actor's name, but he was Uncle Phil on Fresh Prince.
Okay.
And he had just died, so we were kind of talking about it on the air. And it's just like, didn't he die like 3 years ago? I remember him dying, right? And I'm just like, no, he didn't. He just died this week. It's like,
how long ago was that?
This was like the week of his death, because we were reporting on it on that week, right. And he had said, I remember it happening, like 3 years ago or something. And it's just like, yeah, no, that didn't happen. It happened now.
Huh.
So it's probably just one of those things, we get confused about. We have memories as a kid that don't always reflect the, factual truth and everything. Like I said, I'm sure I got the Berenstain Bears confused with the Berenstein Bears. But at the same time, it's an interesting idea. Like, I'm not opposed to the idea of a multiverse theory and everything. Where maybe we slip between here. I'm not opposed to that theoretically. I just don't. I'd wait to see evidence of it before I was 100% convinced that it actually is happening.
Right.
But if we're in an alternate dimension, we're totally in the bad place right now.
Dude, no shit, right? Oh, you're so right.
We're totally in this, alternate universe where just everything has gone wrong, and just somewhere there's this universe where in 2008 Gore got elected, and we've saved the environment and whatnot.
Right. I don't. First off, I believe in what's called a transdimensional shift. Do you know what that is?
Heard of it, yeah.
Okay, that's what I kind of believe happened with people. I have an instance of a Mandela effect myself. There was a woman that I knew when I was going to Narcotics Anonymous meetings that videoed me with her phone at a party. So at that time, I was clean. There was no drugs or alcohol in my system. I don't ever remember being at this party, nor do I know the person's party who was hosting it. I have no idea who this person is. I've never met them in my life. So that's my little Mandela effect. It fucks me up a little bit. And I've had I've had a couple instances like that where people will talk about a memory they have of me and I have no clue what the fuck they're talking about. But that's definitely happened to me as well, where somebody will be like, hey, remember that? And I'm just like, no. I'll tell you the one that sticks out to me, and my mom's going to listen to the show, so she's going to be really sad when she hears about it. But when I was like 12, 13, she decided to take me on like a bus tour of the UK, which was really nice. But at the same time, when she booked it, she didn't know that I was the only person under the age of 40 on that bus trip. So it was literally it was very little fun for me because we were just constantly going to castles, and if you've been to one castle in the UK, you've kind of been to all the castles in the UK. With the exception of Blarney Castle. Going to Blarney Castle was really cool. Oh, nice.
And I could tell a couple stories from that trip, but there's no real reason to at this point. But one of the things she remembers vividly, and I'm sure this actually happened, I just had no memory of it, and I wish I had memory of it, is that the year we happened to be there, it was some jubilee for the Queen. I don't think it was the Diamond Jubilee. It was some, jubilee year for the Queen. And so we're walking through one of the parks in London, and as she tells it, we overhear Queen, who was performing that night, practicing "We Are the Champions."
Oh, sweet.
Granted, Freddie Mercury long dead at this point, but still, it's the rest of Queen performing "We Are the Champions,"
right.
And practicing it in the park as we're walking through it. And she has this vivid memory of it, and I have almost no memory of it.
Wow. Huh.
And like, I'm sure it happened. I'm just also sure that I didn't know enough about Queen at the time to really, give it a check.
Right. Do you know what the Super Collider is?
Do I know who is?
Do you know what a Super Collider is?
The Hydron Super Collider? And
yeah.
I know what that is.
Wasn't there like a whole thing of like a debate between scientists whether to activate it or not because of it's supposed to be ridiculously powerful?
One of the debates was there was like a 0.0000001% chance that it could open a black hole.
Right, tear the fabric of time and space is what I'm told.
Theoretically, yeah. Like there was like a very small chance, and so theoretically, maybe. But that's like I said. If you believe in multiverse theory and everything like that, which I have to see more evidence before I can make an approximation on that.
Okay, all right. Do you believe in the Illuminati?
I believe there was a group called the Illuminati back in the Renaissance, because that's been verified as far as I am aware, but I don't think there's an Illuminati today of people trying. I do believe that there is a group of not necessarily super intelligent people trying to run the country. I believe it's a group of billionaires who are trying to hoard their money, trying to rule a country. I don't think it's the Illuminati. I think it's a group of billionaires who run the country, and people like Charles, the Koch brothers, although one of the Koch brothers is dead now, but, I'm trying to say, Jeff Bezos and all these people who are trying to, hoard their wealth and whatnot. So I don't believe there's an Illuminati in the idea that, there's this intellectual cabal of people trying to bring down the government from the inside. No, I just think there's a bunch of, rich bucks who are trying to hold on to their billions of dollars, which they don't fucking need. And that's what it is.
Right. Okay. Do you subscribe to the Matrix theory?
No, I don't. I don't think we're all plugged into a, supercomputer or anything like that. You don't think it's a big simulation?
Okay.
No. No, I mean, I do think it's kind of interesting. There's a weird film theory that's around, or it's not even film theory, but it's, like film discussions around the Matrix that a lot of people don't get really into. So the Wachowski siblings who did the Matrix, who have both since transitioned, to being women at this time.
Really?
Yeah, both of the Wachowski siblings, who were at the time called the Wachowski brothers, are now the Wachowski siblings. Both of them now identify as women. Yeah. And there's this theory, because if you look at a lot of their work, there are trans themes throughout. A lot of their work. The most basic one being in Sense8, which was their Netflix show. But one of the theories, goes back to the days of the Matrix, which operates on identity and everything. And so, when people talk about the red pill versus the blue pill type of thing, and I've taken the red pill, so I'm out of the Matrix or whatever. The red pill actually, is representing. If you subscribe to this, film idea, that. What is it? A lot of female hormones are actually red pills, and the blue pill was Viagra.
All right, man.
It's one of those weird things that if you just got to read enough into somebody's work to kind of get.
Okay.
and there's all sorts of trans themes in the Wachowskis' works, and I actually like it a lot. I think they're telling stories that need to be told in very imaginative ways.
Yeah.
I'm not always a fan of the ways in which they go, but they're telling really interesting stories about identity.
All right. Do you know who David Icke and Alex Jones are?
David Icke is the guy who says lizard people are running the government, and Alex Jones is a lizard of human being.
What?
I don't like Alex. No, Alex Jones is just. I really don't like him.
He's kind of crazy.
Huh?
He's kind of crazy, man.
David Icke is crazy in a way that is just like, okay, it's probably some kind of mental illness thing. He might need some counseling or something, if he was to accept it. Alex Jones is just an asshole who does shit for profit. He brags about wearing his Rolexes on the air and everything while he's selling penis pills to people, and then complaining about starting the freaking Fox game. Alex Jones is a real piece of shit. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
David Icke, I think, is just he's got some sort of mental illness. I can't diagnose it or whatever, but I think he's not ill-intentioned. I think he's just got some type of mental illness. Whereas, Alex Jones is purely stoking, all of this for his own profit and for, his own hype. Like when he was talking about how, what was the famous school shooting that he called a false flag? Sandy Hook. When he was calling Sandy Hook a false flag.
Right.
Fuck him for, building his reputation on the death of, toddlers and children. Fuck that guy.
It's like I have a hard time differentiating between what is real with him and what's not, or what he believes is real and what's not, because something like that is a serious issue. And I always have what if in the back of my mind. What if is always in the back of my mind. That's just how it is.
Sure.
But I'll move on here. Do you believe the Antifa is behind the rioting and looting that starts out with peaceful protests?
I think Antifa gets a bad break.
Okay.
And more or less, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Are you a fascist?
Yeah, not really. No.
You're not a fascist?
I don't think I am.
Are you against fascism?
Yes.
Welcome to Antifa.
Shit.
It's a group of people who are anti-fascists. That's exactly what it is. And can certain members get a little too rambunctious at times when it comes to looting? Sure. But again, it's the same conversation we had earlier about Black Lives Matter. And I've been having this quote run through my head all day, and I'm going to horribly misquote it because I don't have the quote in front of me. But Martin Luther King was basically saying that a riot is a cry from a group that's unheard. Right. That's a bad misquoting of the quote. You got to look it up for the exact quote. It's not one of the quotes that a lot of white conservatives like to use about Martin Luther King.
Right.
But it's one of his more politically divisive and actually true quotes. I don't think Antifa is spurring on this rioting. I think what Antifa is doing is coming out, and if they're not also members of Black Lives Matter, they're supporting members of Black Lives Matter. Kind of like.
Do you think the news just is making shit up? Well, they make a lot of shit up, so yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's not all the news networks that are making shit up about Antifa, but enough of them are that Well, Antifa is not a terrorist organization in my book. Antifa is a group of, it's a very loosely connected subculture